With the recent leaks and rumors suggesting that with COD 2025, a game that's expected to be a Black Ops game developed by Treyarch again, that with its zombies game mode, it's going to have the return of Outbreak, a game mode first introduced in Cold War that's been dubbed objective based because you complete objectives to progress the rounds instead of just killing zombies. And I know a lot of people weren't a really big fan of it, and even for the people who did like it could recognize the major problems it did have. But the point I want to make with this video is, what if there was one change that they could make to this game mode that could spiral into making the game mode actually good? And what's better than any of that is that it's also rumored to be the change that they're making with this upcoming Outbreak game. And I hope that sounds intriguing, and if you are, you might as well drop a like and subscribe, and let's get into this. So what's this one big change they can make to Outbreak to actually make it good? Well, to understand what it is, I mean, what was the biggest problem with the original Outbreak? Well, in my opinion, it was the maps, because the maps it was played on was just simply reused maps from a canceled Warzone map. Like, it was honestly one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in zombies histories, that the maps were not changed at all. They were middle of the day, sunny, you know exactly how a Warzone map looks. Like, it was honestly depressing to see, because you think about zombies, the whole like biggest thing about it is vibes, because it's not like that was the first time a map had been reused to zombies ever. I mean, you had that back in World at War with Verrucht is the best example. That was a reused multiplayer map, but nobody says those are the same because they changed the vibe to it and it felt a lot different compared to its normal multiplayer version. And that's something they forgot to do. So by fixing this one problem that the original Outbreak had, and especially in the way that it's rumored to be fixed, I think this can make Outbreak potentially actually a pretty good game mode. But how exactly are they planning to fix this? Well, according to the leaks, is that every single round-based map in the game is also going to be playable on Outbreak. Now, there's a couple ways to interpret how they could possibly do that. One way is maybe they're doing it like Vanguard Zombies. I hope not, but what I really hope they do is that these worlds that they call them, the maps that you go and teleport to in between the rounds, I hope what they do is that you just teleport to a new round-based map every single time. And if not all, at least most of that round-based map be accessible to you. And right away, this would fix the biggest problem with the original Outbreak, but also not hurt round-based development too much. Because think about it, like I said, the biggest problem was that it didn't feel like zombies. Well, now it's on literal zombies maps, and assuming those maps are done at least well enough, then that fixes that entire problem. But then on top of that, a thing people always worry about is when they're working on these not round-based game modes, that they're taking away development from round-based. Well, that wouldn't happen to that extent anymore, because they got to develop the round-based maps first, because that's where the Outbreak maps are also going to be taking place on. So to me, this helps development with both round-based and Outbreak. I think this is a great win-win for both game modes. And on top of that, it would fix a problem with the original Outbreak too, that the maps were just way too big, a lot of useless space. But now with this, it's going to be the round-based map. And what if on these round-based maps, all the side Easter eggs still work, where you could still do them there? This would also fix another issue, and this is why I said it kind of snowballs into fixing a lot of problems with the game, because on top of that, it brings in side Easter eggs, something that the original Outbreak didn't have. They had side missions, but they weren't really the same. And I mean, is zombies really zombies without these side Easter eggs? Like, come on, those were even there before main Easter eggs. And on top of that, imagine each time you go to a map, now you have a unique zombie set you have to fight. You get unique zombie skins based on the map you're fighting on. You get unique mini bosses, whether it be elite or special enemy. Those are unique to those maps when you're playing on them. And more than that, now the objectives won't just feel too basic and cookie cutter, because now maybe the objectives are tied directly to that map. Maybe they're based on a main Easter egg step on that map that you played beforehand. So everything just makes sense within these worlds. And even cooler, something that they really missed out on the original Outbreak, now every single time they add a new round-based map, maybe some of the features make their way into the Outbreak game mode. Not only the maps, but on top of that, what if the wonder weapons from every single round-based map are now accessible in Outbreak? All you have to do is just go to that specific map, and when you're there, you could then craft it in one way or another. Keep it the same way you craft it on the original round-based map, or switch it up. Probably going to have to switch it up a little because it plays different from round-based, but you just have to figure it out. But regardless of how you do it, now you're going to have all the wonder weapons from all the maps in Outbreak. And imagine how cool that is. Now you could take the wonder weapon from one map. After you crafted it, you could then now bring it to another map that didn't have it available on it when you teleport to a new world. Now you could test that wonder weapon against the specials and elite enemies of that map. Imagine how cool that would be and how chaotic. I think all of that would be so freaking cool. And honestly, I don't think they should stop there. I think that they should just have fun with this Outbreak game mode. Just throw everything in it. Maybe not just stop at the special elite enemies. Bring in the main boss of it. Like, imagine you're fighting the main boss on one of the maps just for like a side Easter egg, or maybe it's tied into the main Easter egg some way. And maybe it's not as difficult as the one from the main Easter egg on the round base, but it's still as cool looking and has a lot of the same mechanics. Just things like that would be so cool. Just have fun with Outbreak. Don't let anything hold you back. Just have fun with it. I know one issue people are thinking about that could be a problem with Outbreak, especially the launch of COD 2025, is that you're at max going to only have 2 round-based maps. But if the other rumors are also true, that all of the Black Ops 6 DLC maps and maybe even the launch ones are going to make their way into COD 2025, maybe those are now accessible in that Outbreak. Now, I know a problem that introduces that potentially there just becomes way too many maps. But what if every now and then Treyarch just changes up the map pool? Just say, hey, these are the maps out of the pool right now. Then another month comes around and you swap it out. Just change up that experience. Now you have new maps and new objectives every single month that you get to experience for a while. I think a thing like that could also be potentially really cool. And on top of all of the really cool gameplay things that could happen, I think this could be really cool for the story also. Like, imagine you're not the main crew now. You're playing as a unique crew just for the Outbreak game mode, and you get to go to these round-based maps before the main crew does, and you could find out maybe a little bit more of the history behind these maps and why the crew was going there and how the things ended up the way they were. It could give us new insight to these maps that we didn't have just on the regular round-based map. Or if not that, it could happen after the main crew goes through the map and after the Easter egg completed. You can see the map in a different light that way and see the aftermath of what the main crew has done to these locations. Regardless of how they do it, I think it could be amazing for the story too. And just thinking about all the possibilities just gets me excited for not only the gameplay but also the story they could tell doing it like this. Now, of course, there's still some other problems inherent to Outbreak that people are not going to like, but I think by making it like this, and at least somewhat like I've described in this video, I think this can make the Outbreak game mode 10 times better than what we've ever seen in the past for it. But that's just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. What do you think about these changes that I've talked about that could potentially happen with this change to Outbreak? Do you guys think it would actually make it good? Or if not, what more changes would you need to see to the Outbreak game mode to actually make it fun? Regardless though, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one.